Are you being a greedy seller? We have realtor from North Compass Realty to tell us how to find out if you are. Please welcome Nadia Colucci.
And she's back. Nadia is here. How you doing, darling?
How are you?
Great
Thanks
to
for
see you.
having me.
Yes, of course. This is a topic that's near and dear to me. Obviously, hosting Win This Listing, a show you'll be coming on in the near future. I should say we have a show on PB that we're shooting in what, 3 weeks, and your cast. So I can't wait to have you on.
Me too.
But you know, in talking to a lot of home sellers through the casting of that show and hosting that show, I've seen firsthand some egregiously greedy home sellers. And it's one of those things where you see it and you go, wow, they're in outer space. They've lost touch with reality. But it's something that happens a lot. And usually it's sort of a trigger that, hey, we might be at the top here. So first of all, you know, how do you know if you're a seller and you are being greedy? Like, what are some of the red flags?
Well, I guess in this market, most likely if you're a seller, you are being greedy. Short answer, no, I'm kidding, you're not. I think what I have seen day to day is a lot of price reductions in certain areas.
I haven't seen those too.
A lot. So in this market with low inventory, with a huge demand to be here, there should be no reason for a price reduction if you priced it right, obviously. And that's, I think, what's key. Price it right from the beginning, sells faster, you secure a better buyer and a better escrow. I think sellers feel that they are leaving money on the table because it's such a seller's market, so they become greedy and they overprice a property. What ends up happening is I think they actually do themselves a disservice. For example, Carmel Valley, it's always a hot spot, so I go there.
Yeah. Average
home, 2,500 to 3,500 square feet. The average sales price is about 1.2. This is just the last couple months. 44% had a price reduction. It's a huge amount.
In Carmel Valley.
In Carmel Valley. At that price, or at that square footage range. That's a lot, right?
That's too much.
It is way too much. And the average market time is about 28 days, which I think for a lot of people, they'd be like, that's great. But it's not. I actually think it's too long to be on the market in low inventory with the market that we have here in San Diego. I think you should be on the market 10 days. And if you don't have the solid interest, you priced it wrong or something's wrong with the house. Of course, the house has to be indicative of a proper, ready-to-go sale. But I then, of that 44%, once those have sold, then 40% sell for over the newly adjusted list price. Does that make sense? So, example, I had a client who was adamant that her home was worth more than I thought. We talked about it, and I was willing for her, given the relationship, to list it at her price first. That was not my recommendation. So I said, you're going to end up chasing the market down, but let's do it. If you really, really want to do this, I'll do this with you. And you know, you want to support your clients and be there for them. Hopefully they listen to you. But we ended up overpricing it per her. We came down. It sat on the market for 3 months. We ended up having to take it off the market. Then she painted, carpeted, and staged it the way I'd recommended off the bat. We priced it for $75,000 less, trickled back up, and got the price a little under what I had always thought we would get. So in that situation, you price it, for example, she wanted $975. I said we should list it at $949 because then you'll get the $925 that you want.
Right.
So we went $975, waited 3.5 months, came down to $899, and worked our way back up to $915.
Gotcha.
So much closer, but she could have secured that 4 months earlier and you know, not worried and fretted about it, and maybe at that point not even had to do the paint, carpet, and staging. So, you know, I think if you have the right people on your team and you trust, listen to them. I mean, I think, you know, hire the right professional. They do this daily. They should be able to tell you how to price it. And you shouldn't feel, I think sellers feel right now, oh, I don't want to leave, again, money on the table, so I'm going to overprice it. And there's a fine line, a little over.
We know you can definitely overprice a property. There's a famous agent that I know of who always says, why stop there? How about 38 million? You know, if you are overpricing it to a certain point.
Yeah.
So, and so you know, but can you underprice? I mean, is it possible to underprice a property and have that cost you money? Or does the market always find its way to where it's going to go?
In this market right now, probably you can't underprice it. I think you'll get the competitive multiple offers, which will drive the price up. I think sellers deserve to procure a fair market value, and I think buyers deserve to pay it. So if you can keep it, and because of the low inventory, sellers might be getting just a bit above that. In fact, appraisal becomes an issue and things like that. But if you're overpaying as a buyer, what are you overpaying? Maybe 15, 20 grand, 30 grand. If the alternative is renting out in San Diego today and you're renting at $3,000 a month, it's $36,000 for the year, $72,000 for 2 years. I'd rather overpay today 20 grand than 2 years pay 72 out of pocket with no tax benefits, no interest write-offs, and no equity.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess it depends on maybe what the alternative is for the buyer. But I think
also with the sellers too, what are they doing? You know, because if they're also buying, where should they really be focusing their energy? I think a lot of times they're so concerned about what it is that they're going to get with the sale that they're forgetting that, hey, you also have another side.
Right.
And that's actually the more difficult side in this market. That's where you really need to focus your attention on. That to me seems to be the greatest disservice that a lot of these sellers are providing themselves. It's self-inflicted disservice, is they focus so much on the sell side. And it's okay to focus on the sell side. I'm not saying you shouldn't, 50% on the sell side at least. But not 100%. You know, because then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, maybe we finally got the offer we wanted. We put all of our thought and energy and effort into this thing, and now where are we going? Now we're forced to rent. I've seen multiple sellers forced to rent because they, be careful what you ask for, they got it, and then it was like, oh, wow, I'm kind of surprised. Like, I can't believe someone paid this much. But now you're in a 1-year lease.
Right.
So how much did you give back? You know, I mean that's the thing. So it's, I think if you're selling and buying, you have to spend at least 50% of your energy on the buy side because that is more important. So I think that would be a big red flag. If you're selling this market and you're also a buyer, how much energy are you spending on the buy side? Or how would you like to end up in a house that you don't even love because it was the best one you saw in the short window and you had to buy? You know what I mean? There's so many things that could go wrong there.
Yeah, I find that seller, well, at least the ones that I've been, blessed to work with are the opposite. So they'll take my advice on the sale side of things and then they focus on the buy. And maybe it's a lot, I think, better and easier of a process for them to go through just emotionally and financially and everything. So this is what we should secure with our price point, and then this is what you should shop for. So I feel at that point, buyers are also super flexible. So the buyer that buys that home, maybe we do a lease back or a rent back until we secure another property.
Yeah.
But the sellers then get more motivated the second they find a home that they really want. Because they know it's hard to find today. So then that, I think it evens out a little bit.
Balances itself a little bit. Yeah. And we should be clear here that when we say greedy, there's a difference between, everyone wants to sell their home for the top dollar.
They should,
I mean, everybody wants to. You're not the only seller who wants to sell your home for top dollar. Everybody wants to do that.
Right.
But when we say being greedy, what we're meaning is you're starting to lose reason. You've lost touch a little bit with some of the solid advice that you're getting from some of the things that you're seeing. I mean, I've seen situations where highest sale in the neighborhood, 1.2. Homeowner thinks my house is worth 1.5.
This just happened to us. We came in, Carmel Valley had a listing. The home next door went on the market, 400 square feet bigger and a pool. Ours did not have that. They priced it at almost $300,000 more than ours. And I'm like, what? Are they sitting on like a well, like an oil well? Like what's under that property? That's not under mine. So they spent a few months on the market, had multiple price reductions. They ended up closing for 50 grand more than mine, and mine was a great deal. It even appraised for more than my buyer paid for it, and we had some negotiations there. But aside from that, they closed for only 50 more with a pool and bigger square footage. I think they left money on the table. That should have closed for 80 to 100 more, quite possibly. And they didn't because they came out of the gate at this outrageous number, chased it down. Buyers see that a property's been on the market for a while. It's either an unreasonable seller, something's wrong with it, or they're asking too much money. If it's priced right, it'll sell.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of that greed. Like you said, everybody wants as much as they can get, but let's be honest and reasonable.
You don't get to make the number up though.
No,
you don't get to decide what the number is.
No, it's not the random number.
And if you're just deciding what the number is, you're probably being greedy.
Right.
Most likely.
That's
if you're unwilling to look at the reality of what's going on, if you're unwilling to price your property at least at the highest, most recent comp, at least there, or a little lower if you really want to create a crazy frenzy going on.
And you should.
Isn't that best practice?
I think so.
Just slightly under what you think the market value would be. If you think the house is worth 125, price it at 119.
That's
you know,
smart.
just put it right there.
But then don't do what sellers are doing now and counter me at over list price by some outrageous number two. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of crazy out there. Yes, but I think that's guidance from the agents. The right agent takes and fields every call from a buyer's agent and lets them know what their sellers want. Take that call. A lot of people are like 1-800 this, you know, and you never talk to the agent. I don't like that. Take the call, explain what your seller's looking for, and if it's within reason, you should get it.
That's so ridiculous.
You tell me. I got to do this every day.
Nadia Colucci, thank you so much for coming in today. And hey, guess what? You can check out Nadia too. You can call Nadia. It's callnadia.com. North Compass Realty is, that's your brand.
That's my brand.
And what is your tagline?
Discover home with us.
Discover home with us. Nadia is not a secret agent. You can reach her at callnadia.com.
Though I feel like a secret agent sometimes, a little superhero-esque at times.
Thank you so much for coming in today. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.